Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the channel. I'm Stylosa. So what we're going to cover in this video is, of course, the massive drama which is kicking off with Overwatch hero bans, and we're going to talk about the changes that are currently available on the Overwatch experimental card. Now, I absolutely love this experimental card because what Blizzard have done is they've put the changes that typically they would have put onto the PTR, so like little minor balance changes to heroes, actually into the live client. And instead of updating the PTR on a Thursday, they're now just throwing it onto the live game, which is amazing because it means all you guys out there that are playing the game on any console, you can now experience the changes as we would have experienced them on PC. And what makes it even better for us guys on PC is because it's actually just out there, like in the public version of the game, there's more people playing, so we can get into games and make much better content instead of just trying to make a video within the first 10 minutes of PTR updating because no bugger plays on the PTR. Anyway, let's get stuck into this hero pool, hero ban drama because I think it's worth covering because it is weird what Blizzard are doing here. It doesn't really make any sense. All right, I think so. To kick this off, we've got to think of this idea of parity between Overwatch League and Overwatch itself. If you guys remember, way back when, there was a video with Serena Williams in, and she's like, hey, look at this. You know, she's sort of walking around with the Overwatch League hoodie on and all this stuff. That video is designed to promote the idea that you, as a player of Overwatch, have got a path to pro, or that video kind of kicked off the idea of the path to pro, which is where you play Overwatch, you get good at Overwatch, you go through the ranks, you earn your sort of, you go from bronze all the way to Grandmaster. Then when you're at Grandmaster, you fight for top 500. Then when you're in top 500, you fight to try and get into an Overwatch contenders team. And then you fight to get into an Overwatch League team, which is, of course, the pinnacle of the game. So there is this idea of parity. The live game must reflect the pro level. Now, we've had a lot of problems with this in the past. We've had, there used to be really delayed patches. So if you guys remember the Moth meta where Mercy was really powerful with the super res, that was in Overwatch League for a long time, but was actually fixed in the live client. So the game we was playing as players of the live game was completely different to what we were watching at Overwatch League. So there's a ton of disconnect. So what does this have to do with hero pools? Well. These are the heroes that have been banned for week 5 of Overwatch League. This is the first week of hero bans. Now, it must be said, hero bans only last for a week on the live game as well. So the hero bans we're going to talk about in the game are a week, and for Overwatch League, they're also a week. So they will change after a week, at least initially. Now, this is what Overwatch League have done. They've banned McCree, they've banned Widowmaker, they've banned Reinhardt, and they've banned Moira. Now, the way they did this is they took heroes that had very high playtime, put them into a tombola, and got the hosts of Overwatch League to randomly pick them out. And that's what they picked out. That was their system. Personally, I think it was really cool to see that. It was fun. It added a bit of spice to the end of the Overwatch League broadcast. And it's good stuff. So this now means we're going to go into a week of no Reinhardt, who was like the best tank at the pro level. No McCree, who was the best DPS. Moira and Widowmaker were used heavily, and now they're not available. So this means heroes like Doomfist, we might get to see Chipsa play Doomfist. We might start seeing Soldier and Ashe because they are now the only hit scan options. There's loads of stuff that we could see here. We could see Orisa Hog makes a very strong comeback. But here's the kicker, and this is where it doesn't really make much sense if you think of the idea of trying to keep everything together, keep it all in synergy. Why then are these the bans for the live game? Orisa, Hanzo, Mei, Baptiste. Now, what's really weird with this is if you are a pro player, and we're not pro players, let's be honest here, but the pro players have been quite vocal about this. So let's take a look at what Poco says. How the hell am I supposed to practice my Orisa now? And he then goes on to say, this tweet was obviously a joke. Nobody needs to practice Orisa to be good at it, and especially not in ranked. But yeah, I think hero pool in OWL being different than in ranks is an issue for us pro players. We also get this comment off Reinforce, of course, one of the talent for Overwatch League. I really do not like that ranked play has different bans from Overwatch League. And then there's a picture of the heroes that were banned in ranked play. So Poco does have a point. It makes no sense that heroes get banned out of the competitive matchmaking rotation, but those heroes are not the same as the pro level bans in Overwatch League because pros do play on ladder. And this gives them less of an incentive to do that. So if, for example, they really did want to practice Orisa, they can't do that for a week on the live client. They literally can't. Now, the defense to all of this is pros do not practice on the ladder. They do not practice in competitive. They are scrimming against each other. Some teams like Spitfire can scrim against themselves. There's a lot of stuff that teams will do internally, which is better practice. However, if you want to just get to grips with a hero and just get play time under your belt, warm up with a hero, you can't really do that if you're a pro player now. Now, does that matter to us as mere mortals of the game? I don't know. Like, me personally, I don't think I'm too bothered as like a guy that just plays competitive. But as a guy that watches Overwatch League, plays competitive, runs a YouTube channel that makes loads of videos on Overwatch, and he's just like been part of Overwatch for ages, it's been such a part of my life. This is really weird to me. Like, it should be the same. I honestly believe these should be the same. Now, the issue is, this could be Blizzard's sort of changing the way they approach this. Instead of it being, hey, everything needs to be the same. We need this vein of familiarity. That, what did you say then, Sty? Familiarity running through the game from this path to pro idea. Maybe that's just not even a thing anymore. Maybe they're saying, look, we acknowledge that competitive is its own thing, and we acknowledge the pro game is its own thing. But then you start asking questions like, well, we've been seeing Mei in every game at the pro level. So Mei gets banned on competitive and in ranked, but she's not banned at the pro level. So we're still going to probably see Mei at the pro level, right? Baptiste gets banned on the ladder in competitive, but is Baptiste, like, would Moira be a more crazy ban in competitive? Probably. But Baptiste is played at the pro level, but so is Moira, to be fair, but so is Baptiste. But the Baptiste ban at the pro level, I think, would have more impact because you'd start seeing loads of Genji, like nano blades and all kinds of stuff going on. Whereas in the live game, removing him, is it as much of an impact? So this could very much be divergence we're seeing, where Blizzard is saying, look, we acknowledge now that competitive is its own thing, and we're going to do it this way. We acknowledge Overwatch League is its own thing, and they do whatever the hell they want. In their case, it was the idea of the Tombola, where they just randomly selected heroes. Now, personally, I think that was really great from a broadcast perspective, but I would have preferred it if they were targeted bans. If they just did straight out come and say, Reinhardt's banned, Mei's banned, Anna's banned, and then ban somebody else from DPS, let's say like Widow, and then let's see what happens, right? They've got a chance there to artificially create metas. They can artificially make a week of dive happen. They can make a week of tank heavy play happen. They can do a lot of different things, but they're choosing not to kind of do that because they've sort of balanced it with the entertainment value, and I think that's totally fine. But I want you guys in the comments below to let me know what you think about this, because it's such an interesting topic. I think the drama is warranted because it is weird, again, to see this like disconnect. But we're not entirely sure of why Blizzard have decided to do this. Maybe they come back and put bans the same in ranked as Overwatch League in the future. Who knows? Remember, it is early days, so they still can change the way they approach this. So let's move on to the experimental mode and the balance changes that we're seeing here. Now, there's a little bit of a disclaimer here I've got. I'm not too sure whether these experimental mode changes will go onto the live server as they would have done if they were on PTR. Now, these changes, if they were on PTR in the past, almost all of them would then hit the live client a week or 2 weeks later. This, though, is different. I'm not too sure how fast they can update the game. I'm not too sure if they go, we leave it for a week and then all of these changes come out, or they just go, yeah, these were just experimental, so none of them are going into the game. I'm not sure, but we're still going to cover them because one of them is very funky. Now, Bob gets a super buff. Bob can no longer be put to sleep by Anna. Now, this will buff Bob because the counter to Bob was you just put him to sleep. Anna, we're seeing a lot more Anna usage recently, so yes, Bob gets stronger. Now, in defense of this, it is kind of easy to stop Bob. I mean, when Bob gets used, you just go into cover, or you just put a barrier in his face, and then what's Bob going to do? But now, because you can't sleep him, there isn't that easy get out of jail card where you just put him to sleep, because he's a big target, Bob, and he's very easy to put to sleep. So this is going to be interesting to see if it actually affects Ashe long term. But what I think affects Ashe more is hero bans. If they ban a lot of hit scan, like if Soldier and McCree were banned in the live game, then Ashe would be your only option really for like a sort of mid-range hit scan hero, with Widow taking up the long range. So I don't know, like this change, it's interesting. I mean, it might cause more of an issue at lower ranks possibly than higher ranks, because if the Anna doesn't, well, I don't know. No, I think it causes more of an issue at higher ranks, to be honest, because normally you just be like, yeah, I'm Anna, I'm going to sleep Bob. Now you've got to sort of deal with him, but I still don't think he's that difficult to deal with. But still, Bob is super effective if you use him as a fight is sort of getting really messy, and suddenly there's a Bob. It's difficult for the team to deal with. They need to rapidly try and adjust, and they can't. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where that goes with Ashe. The next change is Baptiste. Now, Exo Boots, the charge time reduced from 1 to 0.7 seconds. That means he can now jump higher faster. So when he crouches, he charges 0.3 seconds quicker, so he can get to higher ground faster. It's a buff to Baptiste, gives him more mobility. I like it. Regenerative burst, the cooldown has been lowered from 15 to 13 seconds. This gives him more healing. Now, this is an interesting one because Baptiste is, well, he's got Immortality Field, and that's a pretty damn good ability. So I think Blizzard have got to be careful here, making changes to increasing his healing output, because he might start getting ridiculously out of control again. But we're going to have to wait and see how that actually folds out. Well, turns out. Folds out? What am I talking about? Turns out for the game, ladies and gentlemen. All right, D.Va. So D.Va's boosters, cooldown increased from 3 to 4 seconds. This is a nerf to D.Va. This is them saying, yes, we don't believe that the boosters are balanced at the moment. Now, this was on PTR and has been moved over. Like, some of these changes were on PTR and have been moved over, but some of them are new, like the Ash change, for example, to Bob. May, Ice Wall, cooldown increased from 10 to 13 seconds. I believe this was on the PTR, and now he's on the Experimental card. So I guess you could say these changes that were on PTR and then moved to Experimental, there's more chance of them hitting the live game. Yeah, this is a big nerf to May, right? May Wall is a massively powerful ability, but the thing is, May isn't even playable this week, so it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? So this is the impact that hero pools have on the game. You can buff and nerf heroes all you like, but if they're not in rotation, it doesn't really matter. Orisa, Fusion Driver, Primary Fire, damage increase from 10 to 11. Straight up damage increase to Orisa. Fair enough, whatever, Blizz. Sigma. Now, this is a massive change for Sigma. So, ultimate cost reduced by 10% on Gravitic Flux, and flight speed increased by 30%. So, Sigma is now like Magneto and can fly all over the place, and it's pretty ridiculous because he's 30% faster when he uses it. So, yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. This might be an attempt to get Sigma playtime higher, because I think Sigma might be suffering a little bit, especially with the recent tank changes that have come through. And, yeah, Sigma, they're probably looking to give him a bit of help. Soldier 76. Now, this one is beautiful because you guys know I love Soldier. This is taken from the PTR as well. This is effectively a damage buff to Helix rockets. But what they've done is the cooldown is reduced from 8 to 6 seconds. So this means you've got 2-second faster Helix rocket fire. So as fights, you know, if a fight went for 12 seconds, you're firing 2 Helix rockets. Now, in the past, you were only firing 1. A Helix rocket does 120 damage, so you're firing 2 of them. That's 240 damage. It's beautiful, and that's just more damage to Soldier. I love Soldier buffs, but then you guys know that. And the last one is to Sombra. Now, this is a buff to Sombra's DPS. Machine Pistol, this is a primary fire, spread decreased by 10%. This means she's going to hit more of her shots if she's got better accuracy. So if you're aiming better, you're going to hit more of your shots. There's less weapon spread, so more damage for Sombra. But there you go, guys. That kind of covers everything that's going on with Overwatch at the moment. Remember, if you enjoyed the video, then do like the video, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you get alerted to when everything goes live. And again, guys, thank you for the continued support on the channel. You guys are awesome. I love doing this every day. I've got such an awesome job. It's so cool. And yeah, you can follow me on everything, which is @Stylosa, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Toodaloo.